Right everyone, WeaponCollector here. Right, I'm going to do a video on my 6-bolt quiver that I made for the EK Archery R9 crossbow. So basically I wanted a quiver for the R9 crossbow, and you can get some, but in all honesty I find most of them aren't very good. They either hold the bolts in very weird places, some of them they're like mounted here, upright, they seem to be mounted in very odd places from what I could find from the ones you could buy. So I came up with this, which I think is a very good compact place to have the bolts. Doesn't stop anything from working, and it's just not in the way. So how do you make it? So I won't be able to show you a full tutorial today, but I can give you the general gist of how this is done. So the actual quiver is a Man-Kung or EK Archery quiver that fits on things like the old Jaguar crossbows at the front, going across that way. So I adjusted the handle slightly so that it could fit these bolts. So that's the handle on the R9 that I adjusted. So I'll take the bolts out and I'll give you a closer look. Now this is quite simple to do. All you really need is, I'd say, a couple of files, maybe even just a rasp file, like a rough file, maybe a drill and a hacksaw. So there's the bolts. So the main things you have to do is you take the handle off, and this handle will separate into two parts. And what you have to do then is cut a section out so that the quiver will sit flush with the handle, because you can see it actually fits perfectly. You could turn it the other way around if you wanted to, but I think it works perfectly like that. So I filed this hole so that it was actually the same shape as the bit that was going in, which is actually a cross section. You don't need to do that. You could just drill a hole, or you could just cut a square shape out of it. As long as it will sit flat, so that it can then be zip tied here, here and here. The only other thing you will have to do, if you want this handle to mount on, this is the handle you get with the crossbow. What I had to do was file away along here to just there, and then the handle just slots on to the fatter part. Can you see? You just slot it on there and then you slide it along and then you tighten it up and it fits on perfectly. So it's not a big job to do, it's quite simple. You get a little bit of movement left and right, but that's due to the fact that that wobbles. It's not actually, this quiver is really solid on there, so is the handle, but you get a little bit of movement purely because this moves left and right. When you've got the bolts in, you can only hold on to the bottom of the handle, but none of that really matters. I think it works well, and obviously when your quiver's empty, you've got the perfect handle. You probably could, if you wanted to, you can get mounts that are slightly on an angle so that this handle would then stick down perfectly straight rather than sticking forward slightly. But yeah, I think it's a good option to do, and I could at a later date do a full tutorial, but I'd probably have to buy another Man-Kung quiver. Also, there'll be links to these quivers if you want them, because I do know a couple of places you can get these from. You can get them from eBay, you can probably get them on Amazon. But yeah, if you look at the actual quiver, it actually is perfectly shaped to this sort of handle. Apart from this end. If you wanted to, you could probably just cut that straight off, if you really wanted to. I left it like that because I thought it looked better and it would clamp it slightly. But you could just cut that straight off a hacksaw, straight along there. 3 zip ties, and then you've got yourself an alright quiver really, I think. The holes in here, I moved the two middle ones over slightly just so that the bolts weren't pressing against the handle too hard. I do think that is quite a good setup for a quiver on these crossbows. And as you see, it doesn't get in the way at all. Right, so I hope you found that helpful. That's as much as I can really do with a video like this without actually redoing the whole thing, which, as I mentioned, at a later date, if I can get hold of another one of these, I will mount one on my other crossbow so that you can see how to do it. But it's quite simple. I think from what I've shown you, that should help you be able to do it. And then you've got a very low profile quiver that doesn't really get in the way. Right, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it helpful. If you did enjoy this, don't forget to like the video, definitely comment, subscribe, because I'm always doing loads of weapon, crossbow related videos. I do live streams on the weekend where we can discuss whatever you want, you know, and you can see what I've got here. And I'm always doing builds, showing you how to make things, swords, knives, lots of things. So yeah, make sure you subscribe. Right, thanks for watching. See you later.